Good, better, best. Many years ago, as a young college student, full of good intentions, I spent a semester volunteering in the orphanages of Ecuador. My time was spent snuggling babies, late-night bottle feedings in cold orphanages run by tired nuns, and reading to rowdy preschoolers. I felt like I was doing a lot of good in the world. Many years later, I came across a post of a professional photographer who had been hired to follow kids around and follow this family around to take pictures of them as they served in the orphanage, the same orphanage I had worked at. This didn't seem right to me, and I started to do a lot of research. Today, I will share the negative impacts that voluntourism has on children, their families, and the volunteers that seek to do good. College is a popular time to travel, and I bet some of you have considered volunteering abroad. Having been a participant of volunteering and the travel industry, along with my passion for travel and community service, I feel like I am qualified to talk about this topic. Additionally, I have done a lot of research. Today, I am going to cover what voluntourism is. I will discuss the negative impacts that voluntourism can have on children and volunteers, and I will discuss some alternatives. Let's begin with defining voluntourism. A recent university study defined voluntourism as the intersection of an organization that desires to gain access to international funds and of volunteers that have the desire to do good. In the Sun Herald, it says, caring for children in a Cambodian orphanage or building classrooms in South Africa has become a rite of passage for thousands of young people, but critics argue that volunteering is doing more harm than good. Thanks to social media and all of those beautiful posts of people going and volunteering on the weekdays, then participating in exciting excursions on the weekends, volunteer travel has seen an increased demand. Voluntourism is actually the fastest growing area of tourism, attracting just over 1 million volunteers every year and generating billions of dollars. As a result, oversight is limited to greedy owners who are opening up more and more orphanages in popular tourist destinations. And who are these orphanages attracting? A recent study revealed that most volunteers could be defined as privileged Westerners willing to pay money for short-term volunteer opportunities that they are not qualified for. For a few $1,000s, someone with no training can pay their way to assisting in medical procedures, caring for and teaching children, or digging ditches and building schools. This is a picture of my daughter in Africa. She went and volunteered at a refugee camp there. While she will tell you that this experience was life-changing, I promise you that she has zero experience in construction or in building chicken coops. But she thought that the experience was wonderful. Maybe a better alternative for this organization would have been to employ or train someone that lived in the refugee camp to build the chicken coops, instead of giving the opportunity to a young person that was just looking for an opportunity to have a meaningful experience. Now that you have a better understanding of what voluntourism is, let's uncover some of the negative impacts that it can have on children. One of the problems with the rapid growth of these unethical organizations is that it gives owners the opportunity to exploit children. There have been reports of children in orphanages that are being coached on how they need to look and act in front of the volunteers, or even how they need to look when they're getting their pictures taken for advertisements. These organizations know that pictures like this will evoke empathy, and also they know that people are more willing to pay money and donate to orphanages that have orphans that look more like orphans. One volunteer in Cambodia even reports donating a lot of money to an orphanage, only to find out that the owner had pocketed the money instead of using it for the orphanage. The orphans, in fact, had to go and eat mice because they had nothing else to eat. As a result of so many volunteers coming and going in these orphanages, many of the children develop attachment disorders and struggle to find healthy and stable relationships. Dr. Gribble said in the Melbourne Age, having someone come in and play with these kids and then leave is just adding another person to the list of people who have come and gone in and out of their lives. Perhaps one of the most heartbreaking impacts of voluntourism is that it is fueling child trafficking. It is not uncommon for recruiters from orphanages to go into the villages and convince parents to get rid of their children or to give them over to the orphanage. Because these families are faced with severe poverty and a lack of support, many of them do give their children up because they believe it's better for their children. The Sydney Morning Herald says 4 out of 5 Cambodian orphans still have parents that are alive. Now that you are aware of some of the harm that these orphanages or that these organizations can cause, let's cover some ethical alternatives. The most important thing that can be done is research, and lots of it. There are a lot of great websites out there that help break down the different kinds of volunteer organizations and separate the good from the bad. Stay away from programs that don't require things like skills, references, background checks, or long-term commitments. Ethical programs like the Peace Corps, for example, have very strict qualifications and standards and requirements of their volunteers. Reputable programs won't accept young or unexperienced volunteers at all. Dr. Giorgio says, young people wanting to volunteer abroad need to think about what they are bringing to the experience and what they are getting out of it. Young people who are going in digging in ditches or teaching in schools when they don't have skills or understanding of the issues that lead to poverty or development. Young people can spend their time volunteering locally, learn another language, and gain skills and experience before even thinking about volunteering abroad. For people who do have experience and still have a desire to volunteer internationally in ethical programs, one of the most important things to look for in a program is one that empowers, trains, and employs local experts and community members. These types of organizations prioritize people instead of unskilled workers that just bring in profits. And last, if you do travel, it is suggested that you just travel and just be a tourist. Spend your money visiting local farmers markets and local artisan shops, because you know that that money is going to go to the local people and not to the pockets of greedy organization owners. Now that we have covered some of this information, I hope you have a better understanding of voluntourism, the negative impacts it can have, and now you're aware of some ethical alternatives. I will end with an excerpt from the book, Hours to Explore. To every single traveler today who wishes to leave only positive footprints, the question has rarely been whether our actions come from a place of goodness, but if those good intentions guarantee that lasting good will come from them. Thank you.